Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. We had, an action-packed week for the Produce Reporter newsletter. If you aren't signed up, I say this at the end of the video, but I'm going to say it at the beginning. You are missing out if you're not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter because, just news-packed every single day. It's been fantastic. But we're going to pick some of the top stories that we covered this week to talk about and just analyze them a little bit like we do. And one of them that I feel like we should all be buzzing about is Giumarra and AWG. They did a pilot with autonomous trucks.
Right, the company is called TuSimple, and they're based in San Diego. And it sounds like they ran this pilot where a load of watermelons went from Nogales, Arizona to the AWG distribution center in Oklahoma City, and then to some stores around there, including one called Doc's Country Market in, a small town in Oklahoma City. But the big story is they drove like 700 or 800 miles autonomously between those 2 points. And, Blue Book, both our magazine and online, we've covered a lot of this autonomous truck issue, and it's really exciting technology. And almost every time we're talking about it in theory and future. And here's an example where they're doing it. I'm not surprised that's where they tested it. That is, it's not like driving through Colorado mountains or East Coast traffic or through Pennsylvania on that turnpike or something. That's not a bad drive from Arizona to Oklahoma City, a little pretty wide open. But they did it without a driver, and that's awesome. And this is really good technology. And we have had stories this spring about transportation costs and driver shortage. Here's a solution.
I thought the whole handling of everything of it was fascinating because not only did they do this pilot and release the results of the pilot or whatever, but Homeland Stores, which runs Doc's Market, I believe, also promoted it in stores. So you see the pictures, and Price Mabry, their director of produce, shared a bunch of photos on LinkedIn and the Produce Pros on Facebook of the displays of the watermelons, and there's like little truck signage and some tire things on the floor, and to raise awareness for what's going on in trucking and then the future of trucking in store for consumers. Really, for me, just tied the whole room together. I loved it that they went ahead and took it that next step further. And I also, and you pointed out that yes, driving from Nogales to Oklahoma City is, on those interstates, it is busy, but it's not like Interstate 10 through Houston busy. So it's a good pilot to test it, but to test it out somewhere like that and not, San Francisco Bay Area or somewhere like that, where we're always talking about all of these, the tech hubs, and it's kind of ho-hum blah there for consumers. They'd be like, oh, I know a guy who works in a software firm who's working on that. In Oklahoma City or in rural Oklahoma, this is actually like super cool, I think. So just the whole thing, to see it go from theory and the future of trucking and prototype pictures of, Jetson style trucks to actually it happening in the real world. Huge news. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more of stories like this and see it in action.
Speaking of trucks, let's talk about what goes on the trucks. And we're having issues, and a coalition of the associations, every logo from every association you can think of in the produce industry was on this advisory letter, talking about real concern about pallets and the pallet shortage that we're having going on. You did some reporting on this earlier this week. There is perhaps some light at the end of this tunnel, although we don't know how far away it is. Lumber prices are coming down.
Right. Well, a lot of our produce readers probably don't realize that Blue Book has a lumber division, lumber Blue Book. And so I've worked with some of the folks over there to bring a little extra insight to the produce audience. And yes, the lumber prices have come down in the last week or so. Even I mean, they've gone so much from like $200 a board foot to 1,600. So that's it, like 800% increase. As far as pallet prices, Chep said that customers are paying about 10 to 20% more in exchanging wooden pallets. So that's not 800%. But where the problems might start being is in shortages, and especially on as we get into the summer season, think about even what kinds of pallets go out on produce floors, produce department floors,
Mm-hmm.
and junky ones don't make it out there. They've got to be nice ones, and so there's going to be even a more limited supply of higher quality ones.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be that you couldn't give pallets away to people, and now people are, even consumers making furniture out of pallets or whatever. That's not happening as much as it was a year ago. So it's and the lack of pallets that can be stacked, and like you mentioned, the lack of pallets for building those sidewalk displays. Some of that's going to trickle into, making things a little more complicated, although I believe most experts consider this to be a short-term situation and that it should correct itself eventually. Although I'm wondering if it could push people more into some of the pallet technology that we've seen over the last couple of years that hasn't been widely adopted, some of the plastic pallets and things like that. Are we going to see more of those proliferate into the marketplace? It's possible.
It's possible, yeah. I mean, there might not be time to ramp it up quickly enough to bridge that shortage.
Well, and I've also heard there's shortage in
So in Walmart during the fancy latest redesign, were there any nice looking pallets out on the floor?
Actually, there were some pallets out on the floor. To preface this, the Walmart just had its earnings report this week, and 37% growth in digital, 6% in same store sales. I mean, groceries just banging for Walmart. But what they're also doing is, again, I feel like it's somebody who's in a series of relationships, and after they change their relationship every time they cut their hair or something like that for a whole new look. It's a new look, new me. And first it was the fresh makeover, and then it was produce 2.0, and somewhere in there we saw like binders for training manuals for managers. And then the Walmart near me has one of those training academies out back. I walked in the other day after I had seen on Nextdoor people complaining that they changed Walmart. And this is a Walmart that actually caught fire and got remodeled like 2 years ago. And so it's been in a constant state of revamping. The latest iteration has new signage. It has new kind of a fresh look in the back. Coincidentally, it says fresh right along the back wall, like a lot of retailers do. And the previous look was this weird generic, like, I don't know if you can remember, like generic boxes of cornflakes where it would be like black and white, white with black font, and it used to say like grocery on the side of the wall. Now right. It's the signature Walmart blue, and it says local and organic. It's pretty much a cosmetic makeover of the look of it, but the material changes in the store are ones that I think is going to be very polarizing among consumers, because they took out nearly every checkout line and replaced it with self-checkout. I mean, we're talking a bank of 30 or more checkout lanes has been replaced with one bank of the little checkout ones that are self-checkout, and another bank of the ones where you pull your cart in and are expected to empty your whole big cart full of stuff and check it out yourself. And woo, I just tell you, the people on Nextdoor were not happy about that, but it does point to the future of what Walmart sees for its labor model. And they're
those the same people who are pro $15 minimum wage?
It's possible. Walmart was.
See they have a little cognitive dissonance there.
Well, but all of the checkout people I saw, I noticed that, I go to this Walmart all the time, and those people are actually having to be the ones that come and supervise it. If you buy alcohol or something like that, they got to come, you know, check off that you're the right age and everything. I've noticed that Costco even has added self-checkouts back to our stores because they piloted them, then took them back out. And now they're even giving you a little gun. You don't have to take the stuff out of the cart, and you just bring it all up yourself. And that's unnerving to me, because then when you have your receipt and the people are counting your items, you're like, did I forget my Waterloo on the bottom of the cart? And the lady actually reassured me the other day, and she's like, you know what? They're going to know that was an accident, because if you forgot your $4 case of spicy water, you're not trying to hide that. You know?
The grand scheme is not to just steal the $4 waters.
Right. Yeah. So, but it's going to, I think, create some headaches for a lot of people at first. It's going to create headaches for employees too, to try to verify all this stuff, because before they added the self-checkout, they added people checking receipts at the door like you do at Costco. So I don't know. I'm one of those get off my lawn grumpy people about it. And I don't want people looking at my receipt. I don't want to be stopped at the door. I paid for my stuff.
Well, Costco has always had it that way, so you've gotten used to that.
Yeah, but Walmart hasn't. I don't have to pay to get into Walmart. You know? So I'm used to it at Costco.
Well, they're not going to check your receipt every time. They're only going to check some of them, right?
No, they check every one of them.
Oh, really? Okay, just like Costco. Because I have been, we don't have a Walmart close to here, but I've been using self-checkout when I have used those for years. And most of the time they don't check your receipt. The Hy-Vee that we shop at, most of the time they don't check your receipt when you self-check.
Yeah, this is
Albany has the fastest checkers in the world, so we're not going to go to self-check.
Right. Well, the thing is, the Walmart near me added the receipt checkers before they added the self-checkout. So they instituted gates and I live in a nice area. I'm not living in somewhere with, you know, probably high theft or anything like that, where they added gates to get into the store that you can't get back out the same way you came in without going through the checkout lines. And then they added the people checking your receipt, and now they've added the self-checkout only. There's still 2 full service lanes, but I can imagine that people with disabilities or who need a little extra help are going to be the priority for those lanes, or they should be the priority for those lanes. And then everyone else is going to have to fend for themselves. I don't know. I like self-checkout, but I'm that guy who stands at the self-checkout and argues with the person because I put my thing in the bag too early. Yeah, it's going to be a huge problem. But the produce department looks nice.
That's good.
All right, well, you can see some pictures of the new look for Walmart on producebluebook.com. And you can also sign up for the Produce Reporter newsletter because that's it for the Produce Reporter Weekend Review. Greg, get out and play some golf this weekend.
Well, actually, this is a great weekend for watching golf. The PGA Championship is the second major of the year on TV. And in Kansas City, we have a Corn Ferry event, which I'm hoping to check out. That's the AAA of the PGA Tour. They come to Kansas City once a year. So I have free tickets, and I'm going to check out some of the minor leaguers who will be on the tour next year.
Sounds like fun. I'm going to be on a soccer tournament because that's what I do.
Every weekend.
Every weekend. See ya.